Hey everyone, and welcome to our Facebook Live. I am Paige, and this is Crystal. We're your Keap social media team, and today we're here to talk about LinkedIn tips and tricks and advice on LinkedIn advertising.
And we are lucky we have like an expert in-house to help us with that. AJ Wilcox is on with us today. He is the founder of b2linked.com. He's an expert at LinkedIn advertising and also a speaker. So hey AJ, welcome to our live.
Hey, super excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Hi. How's it going?
So we've been lucky enough to chat with you a few times, but we haven't got really into a lot of the details about your business and what you do. You're talking social media at Social Media Marketing World, but we're really looking forward to you today giving some tips to our viewers and our users about LinkedIn and advertising for your business. So let's just jump right in. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready. This is my favorite topic in the world. I got ammo for days.
Awesome. I love it. Also, just to make note, you're having a webinar at the end of this month where you're going to kind of dig in a little bit deeper. I already saw your deck. It looks like really detailed and kind of a how-to on really best practices for advertising on LinkedIn. So if you guys want to register, the link is in the description. I'm not sure where it is, wherever it is. So click that and register for the webinar. He's going to go even deeper there, but we wanted to give you a sneak peek today. So let's dive in. Tell us a little bit about your business, AJ. Let's start with that.
Yeah, sure. So think of me like an agency that specializes only in LinkedIn ads. So probably 90% of what we do is managing people's accounts for them like an ad agency would. And then about 10% is training individuals and teams on how to do LinkedIn ads better themselves, consultations, audits, that kind of thing.
That's great. I know I was sharing with you not too long ago, we just started getting into a little bit more about LinkedIn. So it's definitely a topic even for me. I'm going to be listening with all ears because, I think it's been slow for people to move over there to LinkedIn as a platform for advertising. So I guess the next question I'll ask is, why LinkedIn? What problems were you seeing on other social channels that LinkedIn solves for? Or why has that been kind of the area of specialty for you?
Yeah, I think LinkedIn is really, really interesting because it's been overlooked for so long. Most marketers, I think, got on the Google bandwagon and search really quickly. And so they're using Google ads and Bing ads. And those are fantastic when you have a product in a defined category that people are already searching for. But what if you're doing something new and disruptive and there isn't a keyword or a category that describes you? It's really hard for those businesses to catch on, to really get any sort of feedback at all. And then you start looking at a channel like Facebook where the targeting is decent around business to business, not great.
Yeah.
It's great on business to consumer,
Right.
but LinkedIn's going to give you this really hyper targeted, amazing reach with the exact right audience. So I think that's really where LinkedIn shines, is disruptive categories that you couldn't hit with search, and then a very specific type of user that you couldn't hit with Facebook.
Yeah, that's very intelligent because I'll say, we've experienced it, right?
Right.
Facebook changing.
Yeah.
You don't have as much control over that.
And B2B is really hard on other channels because people don't use their business email as what they are on social with.
Yeah, that too. There's a lot of challenges from that, but 100% LinkedIn solves some of that because you already have an active B2B community there, right? So
Yeah.
I think it was smart. How long have you been specializing in that area?
We've been as a company alive for almost 5 years, but it's been about 7.5 since I learned about LinkedIn and started diving really in and really making it my favorite channel.
That's so awesome because I think that's long before most people have been looking at LinkedIn for that. You've definitely been ahead of the curve. That's still way back when people were figuring out how to use Facebook. So
yeah.
Pretty cool, man.
Do you feel like
Really
there's been an evolution of how people are using LinkedIn? Because I feel like at first it was really, really popular as a channel, and then it kind of fell by the wayside. And here you are bringing these really awesome tips and ways to use them. So it's kind of having this little bit of resurgence, I would say.
Yeah, it's been really interesting to watch the platform in general, because if you would have asked me before 2012, I would have told you, or anyone would have told you, LinkedIn is just a job searching platform.
Right.
And then as soon as they came out with the feed in 2013, now people are actually engaging in real conversation, which is exciting. And then more and more people are understanding the value of the content there, the value of being there and having conversation, and it's viewed as less of a job search site.
Definitely.
And then on the ad side, prices were relatively low. I mean, LinkedIn's always been kind of a premium network, but prices were relatively low for, the first 10 years it was out. And then only recently have you seen a lot of people diving in and understanding the value. So certainly huge benefits to the early movers on every channel.
Right.
That's so true. Also, I want to let everyone watching know, please get any questions you have for AJ in the comments. AJ is going to be doing a little Q&A at the end of our question session here. So we want to make sure if you have any great questions that you want the experts to answer, you don't want Paige and I, because this is not our area. So definitely get those into AJ. So the next question I have are, what are the top three things business owners should know about using LinkedIn to grow their business?
Well, I think if we're talking about ads specifically, my favorite acronym to describe what you need in order to advertise is called AMO, A-M-O, and it stands for your audience, your message, and your offer. So really, you have to have a good understanding of who your audience is so that you can go and define them by their job title, their company size, their company industry, that kind of thing. Then you have to know what kind of message you're going to show them. The message really is the ad format itself, so how the user sees it, which imagery you use, and maybe which copy you're using in there as well. So worth considering. And then finally, the most important part of this acronym is O, the offer. This is, what are you actually offering to the person who is being advertised to? Because we know if you put an ad out there that just says, here's what we do, click here to talk to our sales rep, no one in their right mind is going to click that. I mean, some people may.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, you'll have very few people engaging. So, what is that offer? What can you tell someone by engaging with us, by giving us your information? Here's what you're going to get. Here's what you're going to learn. I think if you've got a handle on all three of those things, you're doing great.
I love how simple you make it, just breaking it down with the ammo thing there. I think that makes it really easy to pick up on, which leads me right to my next question. Aside from ammo, some business owners, they haven't really been in the LinkedIn space before. A lot of our users, they are in the day-to-day. As I'm sure based on what we've heard about you and growing your business, those moments where you're just in that day-to-day and you don't think about that. So thinking of their LinkedIn page, how should they, especially their company page, what should they prepare for to get ready to advertise on LinkedIn? What are some things they can't miss?
I love this question because anytime that you advertise, your company page is just one click away. Mm-hmm. And so it's not necessary that you have to go, we're going to wait to advertise until our company page is perfect. It doesn't have to be like that, because it's probably only 3 to 5% of people who click on your ad will even bother checking out your company page. Right. But things like your logo, is it pretty clear? Is it professional, visible? The number of followers is going to be visible right within your ad. So if you have a brand new company page with 8 followers, it's probably worth at least sending some emails around the company saying, hey everyone, can you like our company page, so that we're giving out those social proof signals.
Awesome. I think those are great tips. And definitely start with your network. I mean, if you're a solopreneur, you still have a network of people that are on LinkedIn, even if they don't own a business. Get them to follow those pages too. Mm-hmm. So great call out there. Okay, so our next one that we have here is, who's the best fit for LinkedIn advertising?
Yeah, and this one's really important because we've discussed a little bit earlier about how the costs on LinkedIn are a little bit higher. It is a premium network, and because of that, there are some businesses who are going to be priced out. So although I would love for everyone here who's watching to go and attend the webinar, I'm hoping here I can give you some guidelines for, hey, if I don't fit this, maybe LinkedIn ads aren't for me, and maybe I shouldn't advertise. So if you are doing lead generation where the lifetime value of your customer or your client is high, let's say when you close a deal, it's going to be worth $15,000 or more in the long run, then that's a really good time to think about using LinkedIn ads, because if you're paying $6 to $9 a click on the front end, it means you got to make a lot of money on the back end to make sure you're getting the return on your investment you're looking for. It's mostly business to business, but there is some business to consumer that tends to work really well, like hiring, like higher education, like financial services. Anything where there's really a high lifetime value is probably a good fit.
Awesome. That's great.
So for our audiences who might not know what you mean when you say it's a premium network, could you go into that and describe a little bit how you define that and what it means in the competition sphere of all the different social network channels?
Yeah, totally. To give you an example, when Google very first started out with Google AdWords back in the day, they started out saying, hey, the minimum cost per click here is going to be 5 cents. And we're just going to naturally let competition walk that up until now we have lots of terms where you might be paying multiple dollars, even tens of dollars per click. Facebook started out really similarly. It was very inexpensive to start. And LinkedIn, when they started, they just said, oh, our floor is always going to be $2 a click. We want people to at least start there so that we're not getting the belly fat ads, the ads that lower the quality of the network. So they started at $2 a click, and now on average it's 6 to 9. Whereas if you're bidding on CEOs of the Fortune 500, you might be in the $14, $15 range.
Right.
School teachers, janitors might be in the $3 range. So just totally depends on how much competition there is for that segment of the population.
Yeah, great follow-up page. I think people would be wondering that. So awesome. I love the way you just described that, because it has me thinking too, even just thinking of what we've been starting on, with Keap. It is hard to find the right audience out there, especially in the B2B. And I think it's worth paying a little bit more if you're going to have a more qualified lead coming in terms of those long-term sales that you're making for consultants or people that are getting that monthly coming in, and over the course of a lifetime, it's worth that extra spend at the beginning. Yeah. So awesome.
And it's a relationship building, right? You're paying for that relationship to be built, especially if you're B2B, whereas B2C, it's usually a one-time or hopefully a recurring purchase, but you don't have that relationship aspect there.
So true.
And you bring up a really good point on that one too, because LinkedIn, because it's a relationship sale, because we're generally going after those larger deal sizes, the most important brands to us. It's not a sale that's going to happen tomorrow. It's a longer sales cycle. So if you need deals that close tomorrow, you've got to be on the search channels like Google Ads and Bing Ads. But if you're okay investing into something that is a real relationship that's going to pay off in the long term, that's when social and especially LinkedIn start to make a lot of sense.
Totally. And thinking of how you combine those with some of the shorter term, I think omni-channel approach is like the winning approach, because you have those coming in that are more direct and searching you. You have those coming in that are a little longer term play. And if you're attacking both, you hopefully have regular prospects and leads coming in.
Totally.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so next question. If a business owner is just starting out, what is the thing they should take away from today and start doing?
I think any business owner should probably be involved on LinkedIn from an organic perspective. So I know we're talking mostly about ads here, but there is so much value right now for just being active on LinkedIn, because it is the easiest network in the world to go viral on. What I mean by that is, I've got somewhere around 5,000 people who follow me on LinkedIn, but it's not uncommon for me to have a post that gets between 10,000 and 30,000 views. And that's because on LinkedIn, well, I'm surmising here, only a very few, I'm tripping myself up here. Very few people, I think, feel truly comfortable just sharing openly on LinkedIn. Right. And so the stats that we see are like 3 to 4% of people are creating content on there. So that's 100% of people who need stuff in their feed, but only 3% of people who are actually creating. Mm-hmm. And so LinkedIn is actively looking for things to put in other people's feeds. So if you have something that gets liked, commented on, reshared, comments are by far the most important. You can have a post that goes way outside of your own network and goes to your network's network and your network's network.
It is pretty amazing. I mean, unlike some of the other channels, you still can get reach on LinkedIn. It's crazy. We don't post as often as we want to on LinkedIn, but when we do, we see like some decent reach on there and people are seeing it. So I think that's a great call out.
Yeah, and important to understand that you'll see the most reach from your personal profile. You'll see much less from your company page, but that's okay. You can share exactly the same thing from both and really get the best of both worlds.
That's a great tip.
Exactly.
Okay, so I know your webinar is coming up. It's August 21st and 22nd.
Oh, I'll have to pull up my calendar. I think
I'll update in the comments.
Okay, cool.
I know it's right around there, but I'll update in the comments to make sure. But what's a topic you're going to have like even more deep dive into on the webinar?
On the
Well,
20th and the 21st.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks for clearing that up. Yeah, we're going to go a lot deeper into the offers. I mean, I mentioned that there's, kind of the faux pas. What you don't want to do is just cut right to the chase and say, do business with me. But we're going to go into what are the types of offers that do perform on LinkedIn, and what should you create? What should you have in place for that to start working?
That's awesome. And I did see those slides. I mean, it is detailed. You really give people like an easy way to leave there creating their own LinkedIn advertising. I mean, I was shocked by how much they're giving away in that webinar.
I'm giving away the farm.
You really are. I mean, I think it's so great that you are so willing to help other business owners, take their business to the next level using what you've already learned. So I really appreciate that. And I think for anyone attending that webinar, they're going to really leave that day with what they need to go get started there. So I think people are going to enjoy it. I want to ask one more question before we get into question from the viewers. If you guys have questions, now's the last chance to put those in. But one last question for you would be, what is like the next big goal you're tackling for your own business?
Yeah, I'm doing a lot right now. My big ones, I actually have a book coming out in about 2 months. I'm starting a podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, just big stuff on the horizon. I'm really excited. I've got some new videos coming out if anyone's subscribed to the B2 Linked YouTube channel. It's just lots of little tips here and there about LinkedIn ads. So lots of cool stuff happening.
That's awesome. What is the topic of the book and the topic of the podcast?
Oh, big surprise. All LinkedIn ads.
Okay, good. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. Podcast is going to be the LinkedIn ads show, and the book it's called LinkedIn Ads Demystified. So I'm kind of a one-trick pony, but that's all right.
But I think if it's a trick no one else is using yet, I think you're already ahead of the game and people need the help.
That's so true.
I definitely think we're going to be invested in that podcast for sure. Getting as many tips as we can. So that's awesome. Okay, Paige, do we have any questions coming in?
We don't have any other questions. I'll just repeat, though, we got one about the date of the webinar. It's the 20th and the 21st. The link is in the description, and we'll also put it in the comments so you can go and register for that. I have one question for AJ of diversifying channels, and what kind of businesses do you think, if they're on LinkedIn, should they also be advertising elsewhere or be doing organic reach elsewhere? What are kind of your thoughts on that?
Oh, I love this question because even though we've discussed I'm a one-trick pony, like a total LinkedIn ads homer here, I'm a really big fan of diversification and making sure that your sales team has the right kind of leads. So what we find is, like we talked about a little bit earlier, if you have keywords around what it is that you do, you'll get these leads that are hot and ready to go. They're fast closing, and they're probably really prime, and your sales team is going to love that. They're going to love talking to someone who wants to talk to them. So really helpful, I think, to invest in search on Google. On Bing ads, I think they call it Microsoft advertising now, but that's oftentimes overlooked, and it's very much the same thing as Google ads. It's just about half the price. So Bing is trying really, really hard to make sure that their platform is as close in parity to Google, so that if you already know Google, which they assume everyone who does PPC does,
right,
that it's going to be a really easy transition. So might as well expand there. And then as you start going into the social channels, this is variety for your sales team. It's not just pick up the phone and dial and talk to people who've requested a demo. Now you're talking to people who've requested content and who want a relationship and want more information. And these are the titles that are higher. I mean, they're talking to VPs and C-level folks of the Fortune 500 and really big companies. So they get excited about these calls. So yeah, I think the sales team will probably want some variety there. And then you've also got some channels that no one else is checking out right now, but are a huge advantage to you to get in early, like Quora ads. I think Quora ads are a massive force that we're going to see, and they're never going to be cheaper than they are right now.
Book
That's
number
so
2,
true.
maybe?
Yeah, right? Book number 2, expanding to Quora. I feel like that is the next big. People aren't seeing it coming, but I think that's going to be a huge one. I mean, what other place can you have where people are asking specific questions, either to a problem you're solving or exactly about your company, and be able to get in there now when it's so cheap, really?
Yeah.
So affordable.
And we've talked about like search channels, how they're all about catering to someone who is looking for something now, and social channels who it's the right person. You have a network like Quora that kind of bridges the gap. There's kind of keyword targeting, so it feels like search, but then there's also demographic targeting, so it's a lot like social. So really good blend. I don't have anything to sell here because we don't offer Quora ads, but anyone who is looking to explore and diversify, that's probably my top tip for where to go.
That's awesome.
Thanks so much for sharing, AJ. I'm so excited to have you here and for your webinar. Again, it's in the description. It'll be in the comments. As soon as we're done here, go register for that. Thank you for joining us and allowing us to just absorb some of this information on LinkedIn ads.
Thank you.
You bet. Super happy to share.
Yeah, we've loved having you on. So we'll let you know if we get any other questions once we get this out into the wild a little bit more, and hopefully we can get you to help us answer them. We'll need your help.
Absolutely. And both of the webinars are live. It's not just going to be a replay. So if you attend the one and you think of a question, you want to come back the next day, totally cool with me.
Great call out. That's true.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye, AJ.
Bye.